What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JFlood back with another reaction. Alright, we are going to react to American Confidential. It's a like a news outlet out of Philadelphia. Honestly, I love their content. I pretty much watch everything that they put out. Definitely go check it out, especially if you're like a niche person, like you found my channel somehow, or you're one of my friends in real life and you're just supporting the channel. I really recommend American Confidential when it comes to anything like street politics, drill news, anything like that. He adds a bit of like intellectualism and sociology and like real journalism to what is essentially like a really unique lane of like street news. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to like stay up to date with like crime, drill, hip hop, rap, and then definitely even furthermore, like if you're here in the Northeast, or if you like to follow like East Coast, West Coast stuff, he's very tapped in to everything that is PA, everything that is Pennsylvania, Philly, New England related. He knows about it. He knows, boots on the grounds. I'm pretty sure he's from the area. He's probably from like Maryland or PA or something like that. He might even be from Philly. I think he's said that in his podcasts. But in his fucking reaction channels. Reaction channel. Actually, yeah, his is kind of a reaction channel, but he's not a reaction channel like mine, where I'm gonna be watching this for the first time. You guys will see my live reaction. Alright, but let's get right into it. This is American Confidential's Why Teen Killers Are Taking Over Philly. He talks about the Senders, Nineside, Klapperz, LMG. I've never heard of any of those guys except for the Klapperz. Because there's the Klapperz and the Campers and shit like that, right? There's, what's that guy? PNG? I don't know, I forgot. But the dude who died out there at the chicken spot in California. PMB. Yeah, so I'm not really super tuned in with Philly, but I watch everything his channel puts out. So go like, comment, subscribe, and then also definitely stay tuned in at JFlood201 Reacts. Add me on IG. Send me any ideas that you have for reactions. Get at me in the comments. I'm going to be going through the comments next week, and we're going to do all reactions to things that people have requested. But enough with the intro. Let's get right into it. Why teen killers are taking over Philly. Alright.
January and February of this year, a series by the Philadelphia Inquirer, penned by Samantha Malamed, called Youth Justice, investigated the complex issues within Philadelphia's juvenile justice and child welfare systems. The articles highlight the high rates of youth incarceration.
Alright, so yeah, I'm glad he's talking about that already. So you see what I mean by incorporating some sociology? He talks about a real article that was probably written by somebody who has firsthand knowledge of the social welfare or social work, system out there in Philly. Juvenile detention, social work, wards of the states, DYFS, I don't know what they call it out there, but like child protective services. All this stuff has to do with what is at-risk youth and youth recidivism and essentially like youth crime. And even though a lot of this stuff is like gun crime and super serious stuff like murders, it still falls under that youth crime umbrella. And so all of these topics are related to that. Like all this shit is super fucking relevant, super hand in hand with what's going on. And if we ever wanted to find a way to like address these problems, this is where we would go.
In the city compared to national averages in other major cities, detailing the potential for a, quote, womb to prison pipeline for the children in the care of the Department of Human Services, or DHS. The reporting also examines the failures and inconsistencies in reform efforts by the District Attorney's Office and instances of abuse and illegal lockdown practice.
All right, I used to work for a company that was subsidized or, essentially worked for Department of Human Services. We worked hand in hand with DYFS and we were not child protective services. What was it called? Youth counseling services. And we worked with at-risk teens and people that were wards of the state. Most of them have mental health issues that go hand in hand and coincide with this shit. I'm letting you know now, it's not easy to work with those kids. Most of them don't come from a loving home environment. And the ones that do, they might have loving family, but a lot of time there's other coexisting problems. Like, along with their mental health, they might come from a cultural background. This happens a lot with black and brown youth. They might come from a cultural background where mental health is not really something that they either believe in or invest in like that. So these young, uneducated parents get told that their kid has dyslexia, or their kid has ADHD, or their kid has, mood disorder, bipolar disorder, whatever it is, right? They need to be put on some sort of medication. Well, that parent, A, might not be able to afford the medication. B, it's not covered by Medicaid, Medicare. Or C, they don't have insurance to cover their kids' health expenses in the first place. Kind of like what I said at A. But, and so as a result, they kind of like reject this idea that their kid needs this medication or has these mental health issues. As a result, the atmospheres and the cultures that are surrounding them, let's just say in a poverty environment or an urban environment or an inner city environment, only compounds the already at-home issues of not being medicated, not having a parent that really believes in or cares about mental health. So they go out there into the streets or hanging out with people that are also suppressing these same type feelings, and shit only gets worse.
Practices within the juvenile detention facilities themselves, raising concerns about the well-being and future outcomes of the affected youth. The quote, wound to prison pipeline, also referred to as the DHS to prison pipeline, describes the phenomenon in which children, particularly those involved with the child welfare system, are disproportionately likely to become entangled in the juvenile and criminal justice system. It shows how systemic issues and biases within the child welfare system can inadvertently funnel young people towards incarceration. This begins with involvement with DHS and can lead to juvenile detention and eventually the adult criminal justice system. Teens with active DHS cases are about 11 times more likely to end up in the city's juvenile hall compared to other Philadelphia teens. Children who have been through the child welfare system constitute at least 1/4 of the kids in the Philadelphia's juvenile justice system and at least 1/3 of those in detention. And of those in detention, sometimes they are being brutally abused. Video obtained by the Inquirer shows what teens have been complaining about for decades. These images shows a counselor at Cove Secure, a youth institution in Pennsylvania, shoving a teenager, Abdul Anderson, in May of 2024. That counselor has since been fired, but the problems persist. Teens sent to these youth institutions as a deterrent from the real prison often face physical, emotional, and psychological abuse from those whose care they were left in.
All right, so not saying that what this guy did is okay, but to put things in perspective, because he's going right in on the workers, the conditions, and stuff like that. I don't know if this is a hands-on or hands-off facility. I worked at a hands-on facility. What that means is because the kids have mental health issues, they could have, things like they could hear voices, or they could have emotional outbursts, or they could try to abscond, which means to just run away from the facility. And a lot of them are no longer in a parent's care. A lot of them don't have parents. These, I think, kids are more in like a juvenile detention setting. So these probably do have caring parents, or parents that are still actively involved in their lives. To what degree the parents are loving, to what the degree the parents are educated, or are really let's just say it. So I have no idea how good the parents are, how involved the parents are. A lot of parents like to claim that they're good parents, or that they're involved, but the reality is they're not. They're not at all. You know what I mean? They really are not. And then if they do have a kid that needs, extra discipline or would benefit from after school programs, they don't invest in these things. Yes, townships, local government, the county, all this stuff should have options for these kids. A lot of these kids just need to be on a football team, have a disciplined male role model in their lives, like a coach or a dad, or like just anybody who's like a loving, active, consistent adult in their lives who's going to teach them things like boundaries, discipline, obedience, you know what I mean? But at the same time, tell them it's okay to have, moments where it's like you have an outburst or whatever it is. But what I will say is in a hands-on facility, you're allowed to take the kids and to restrain them. So I was in a setting where we were taught to restrain the kids. If this kid starts bugging out, punching another kid in the face, or starts threatening somebody, or starts spitting on somebody, which is like light work. Like a lot of the time, these kids would fight each other, would try to fight staff, would spit on staff, stuff like that. We were taught to restrain them, to grab them, to put them in, not a full Nelson, but like to restrain their arms behind their back, and then to take a seat on the floor with their arms still being restrained, at which point they would usually try to headbutt you or buck you or something like that. And then at that point you have to duck your head, pull it back, and pull them back further and sit them down. I've seen kids get shoved. I've shoved kids myself. Like, you know what I mean? Do I push them to the floor so that they're going to fall over? No, absolutely. But if I see some kid who's picking on somebody else, I might come over and just give him a little nudge and say, hey, stop that behavior. You need to knock it off. Otherwise, I'm going to have to either restrain you, or we're going to have to send you to, your quarters, your room, right? I've never like tackled a kid. I've never like pushed a kid like this guy is in this photo. That's kind of fucked up. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that this guy looks like a big grown-ass man. I'm not saying I'm a small dude. By no means. You know what I mean? I'm 5'10", about 200 pounds. You know what I mean? I've been getting my weight up, kid. But that being said, I would never just charge a kid, Were there kids in there that were like heavier than me? Heavier than me, yeah. Bigger than me, no. You have to understand, we have grown man strength. They don't. This guy looks like he's just bowling this kid over. Like that's completely uncalled for. There's ways you can de-escalate the situation, restrain the kid, or do whatever you need to do to calm the situation down without physically harming the child. But something to keep in mind is that, these kids will say the most fucked up shit you've ever heard. They'll talk about your mother. They'll, you could say you got a small dick. Say they're gonna fuck your bitch. They're gonna fuck your mom in the ass. Like, they'll... Wow, this is definitely getting demonetized after all that. But the reason I said all that is just for an example, like these kids will say the worst things that they can possibly think of or that they've ever heard. And what it really makes you aware of is the fact that, first off, these kids are not like other kids. But secondly, that these kids hear this type of language in the home all the time. Like, they're used to hearing, like, awful, messed up stuff. Really, like, awful, messed up stuff. So I guess my point is that we're not giving a full context to the video. This guy could have been definitely, it could be his job to maintain and restrain that child.
Often these teens would leave these facilities worse off and more angry at the system designed to protect them.
I don't know about worse off, but they'll definitely leave angrier at the system and distrusting of it. That happened even at my facility. We never had a kid who left worse off than we found him. That's just simply untrue. In order to work in a facility like this, you have to care about kids. And if you don't, you're not working in the right field. You do not get much money to work with these children. You probably make just over minimum wage. You probably are making anywhere between $16 and $20 an hour to watch after these kids, protect them from each other, try to instill in them some sort of boundaries and understanding of responsibility, and to be a consistent adult in their life. That is not enough pay to accomplish any of those goals.
More than a century, government officials and researchers have concluded that confining youth in institutions leads to worse outcomes, lower graduation rates, and worse employment outcomes, more recidivism, and later a greater risk of adult incarceration. Moreover, abuse in these juvenile institutions have proven to be endemic. In national surveys, upward of 1 in 14 youth in state facilities reported being sexually abused. With that being said, a lot of the teens we're going to talk about in this video come from these very situations. The drillers and steppers that are getting younger and younger are being missed or lost in a landscape that more often than not forgets about them.
Come through here. 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 Come through here.
You told me I'm the reason you
What we do that 21st Street when they just try to come through here. I'm fucking play with that.
Hey yo, listen, hold on. I'm about to put the icing on the cake. Honcho, you don't even got a gun. What the fuck? You don't got a gun.
Let's slide then. Come on.
Don't try to ask nobody to see they real shit. Don't do that, cause you don't got a gun.
Kyer Strickland, or Double O, or Seven Side Honcho, is a prime example of what happens to the young boys who are left to fend for themselves, living in an area entrenched in gang war and poverty. Don't get me wrong, he is in no way a victim, but our environment, good or bad, shapes us, and that's just a fact. Kyer Strickland's block that he died for, 7th Street in South Philly, just got indicted by a grand jury, along with the ops, the Senders, or 5th Street, in which 12 people, all under the age of 21, were arrested in what authorities say is a years-long shootout between the groups, with a lot of innocent civilians getting hit in the process.
A big bust involving what police are calling 3 major South Philadelphia shooting gangs. 12 people now charged for their
Not shooting gangs.
roles in more than a dozen crimes, including a homicide. The district attorney says the group is affiliated with a street gang. Here's our Steve Keeley.
Kids, these are young people doing horrific things.
The kids, all but this one, locked up and held on bail as high as $12.5 million. The horrific things they're accused of: murder, shooting 26 people, and carjacking others to use those cars in shootings, with victims as young as a 2-year-old. Police say shootings committed by members of 3 rival gangs, with members as young as Little League baseball team members.
The shooters are getting younger. The shootings are no longer just neighborhood-based. And the guns that they're using are from the illicit gun trade, the straw purchasing and gun trafficking that we've been fighting against.
Javon Solomon is now 16 and wanted for a shooting when he was just 14, 2 years ago, here on the 700 block of Jackson Street, among the mapped out long list of shootings that began 4 years ago.
One thing I will say is, who the fuck are selling, or who are selling these kids these guns? How do you sell a gun to somebody who's less than 18? How do you sell a gun to a 14-year-old? Bro, like, or does he just have access? Like, that's the stuff that gets me. And as somebody who's been arrested for illegal weapons possession, bro, what? These kids are so young to be doing that.
In an almost nonstop retaliation mini-war that these so-called kids saw as a kid's game, a veteran detective says.
A lot of these young kids think it's a game. On social media, they compare it to a basketball game. And how that works is, for every shooting victim, they say they have a point. It's really, honestly, just a game to them.
And it's now game over for many of those arrested and not seeing the outside again for a long, long time, with astronomical bails set in proportion to the astronomical mayhem they're all charged with. Like Eli Simmons, now 19, charged with shooting 16 different people in 9 different incidents, starting when he was just 15 years old. Prosecutors say they brag about being in a gang called the Senders and its killing and shootings, then make videos that help lead to their own identification.
Was that these Senders used a motto or a slogan in many of their music videos, raps, and other social media posts. That slogan was, if you want to join the Senders, get a body, then you gang with us.
31 victims. We cannot lose sight of that. 31 victims, 2-year-old victim. Man, can you imagine the amount of trauma served on those blocks, those neighborhoods, those families. It's disastrous. It's catastrophic.
In Center City, Steve Keeley, Fox 29.
Yeah, that's disturbing, bro. This is just so disturbing.
News.
One journey sinners get a body, didn't gang with us. I said one journey, get it.
I, of course, will be making a video documenting these events in full and delving a lot deeper into the things the news didn't, like the many murders which weren't mentioned in these charging documents. For instance, one of the murders not charged in that case but was allegedly part of the war is the death of Aquill Foster. On Tuesday, June 21st, 2022, Quill was a passenger in a car driving on the 600 block of Rittner in South Philly when the car was suddenly ambushed. The way the news describes it, it makes it seem like Quill's brother left him in the car.
Others driving in a car in South Philadelphia are on the receiving end of gunfire. One of them was killed.
18-year-old Aquill Foster was a passenger in a car the night of Tuesday, June 21st. At 11:45 p.m., Foster's brother was driving them along the 600 block of Rittner Street in South Philadelphia. That's when police were called for reports of a person with a gun.
Inside the vehicle was one male, who was later identified as Mr. Foster. He was shot.
Medics took him to the hospital where he died at 1:18 a.m. The brother was not injured. At the scene, officers recovered 12 9mm shell casings.
About a year after Quill, it was Deke Loco who was gunned down in South Philly.
3 Command. 33rd District Unit still holding the scene for the homicide at 17th and Christian.
As the shots heard around Graduate Hospital, this family with a stroller seen running for cover. The target of the bullets, an 18-year-old, police say was walking down the street with at least 5 other people, including a youth counselor. The teen ambushed at the intersection of 17th and Christian Streets just after 7 p.m.
In July of 2023, almost exactly 1 year after the death of Aquill Foster, Sadiq Dove, or Deke Loco, would meet the same bloody fate as his close friend Quill.
Outside without your fire, he really loco. Be slipping on his side, shit come with repercussions. He was speaking on young boys until we cracked his dumpling.
Dissing on my brothers, now it's Klapperz in my Dutch. I know dude was big get back, but I.
Yo, what is the point of all this shit? You gotta wonder sometimes, like, my God, bro.
Think German respect. Klapperz in my backwood, Klapperz in my weed. I love when Klapperz die, bitch. I love when Klapperz greed. Yeah. The local died in HL2, they rearranged, they rock the drink. They gave local fucking curfew, nigga went home late.
That's the booger with the locust fucking with my head.
They hit loco with atomic warfare, turned them to a Martian.
When Deep Loco died, they threw a party right next to his hearse. Deep kept trying to play ball, he got chased out the wild.
Damn.
Look was at the YMCA and he couldn't get away.
IRS e-file is now open. Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund.
Full-grown man.
Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest.
Looking at Honcho's Instagram, he had a lot of love for Quill and Deke, even stating he's not, quote, CCK, and all he cares about is revenge for Quill, or Quilly Gang.
I don't know nobody on this live, bro. It's strictly 00. My 7th Street is not even up right now. You know how they get. You QGK? No, I'm not CCK. I'm Quilly Gang. That's for Quilly.
His name was 7th Street Honcho, and by that you can see he reps 7th Street. 7th Street mainly beats with 5th Street and other blocks from around South and West Philly. In my upcoming Senders vs. Klapperz video, I will show how this war played out right on social media and how the people engaged in this knew they were going fed, but those involved didn't seem to care about self-snitching.
Well, your brother, you told me I'm the reason you keep a gun. What you say? On your brother, you told me I'm the reason you keep a gun, nigga. I'll pick you out here. Nigga, you know what I mean. Stop tripping. You just told me. He said chill. Hey, Cat, what do you be talking about, Cat? Like, bro, you dumbass, you pull up the truth, bro.
What's up with y'all niggas, yo? You like, what's up with you, bro? Stop and talk like that if I slap you out your mom.
Who? Bro, stop here. Where that at? Where that at? Where that at right now?
Yo, keep trying to chat on live. Come on.
Hey, where that at right now?
Y'all here every day.
Where that at?
Yo, chill.
Where that at right now?
Nigga, it's Fraser Street, nigga. How y'all come through our hood? Y'all don't know where we
you
at.
not on Fraser, you fraud.
Nigga, you be on Fraser Street right now, nigga. What the fuck you talking about, nigga?
Lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't bet 56 bro.
Nigga, come out here right now. Come out here right now.
I don't bet 56
Hey, Cat,
Wallahi, I would have bet on you right now if I was in the game.
Probably try chill on Parkside. We dropped 50, but we would have had 7 side honcho.
I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
We fast when he run.
When Kyer Ladson, known as Pop or Pooh, was caught in the crosshair of 2 gunmen and shot multiple times in his body and chest, Honcho had no problem going on live and telling what he allegedly did.
When them niggas who really giving that out, you on the live, cut that shit out. Stop lying. Niggas know what's up.
What you said? I prepped on your man. We dropped 80 on him.
Bro, in the same day bro died, you was sitting there watching your man get fried. You fucking goofy.
We dropped 80 on him.
Bro.
p.m., police responded to a double shooting at 3rd and Montrose Streets.
We have over 75 spent shell casings.
Those casings show there were 2 guns used in the shooting. 19-year-old Kyer Ladson was murdered. Another 19-year-old was injured.
My brother, he actually did say that he saw the dead body.
A neighbor says she watched.
In the same day bro died, you was sitting there watching your man get fried. You fucking goofy.
Was captured the gunman in one of 2 deadly shootings in South Philadelphia neighborhoods just last night. The violence happened within a 3-hour span. Now police are looking into whether these shootings could be connected as neighbors recount the fear they felt as all those shots rang out. Action News reporter Maggie Kent live at police headquarters today with the latest on both of these investigations. Maggie.
Brian, 3rd District police officers responded to both of these shooting scenes happening within 3 hours of each other in total.
Yo, low-key, she's a smoke show, bro. What?
5 men were shot and 2 of those men died as a result. Now, as you mentioned, investigators are looking into whether these shootings happen to be related. 2 gunmen, one wearing a white hoodie, the other a black hoodie, seen on surveillance video opening fire on the corner of 7th and Daly Streets Thursday night. All the while, terrified bystanders crouch behind cars.
We hear the sound, dong, 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 dong.
3rd District Police found more than 60 shell casings at the scene. 11 of those were found inside the Chinese takeout shop on the corner. The owner took cover in the back.
I see the 3 people lay down on the floor. Maybe I don't see anything because I run to the back.
3 people were shot. A 28-year-old man and a 21-year-old man were hit, but will survive. The bullet struck 38-year-old Charles Fickling multiple times, killing him. 3 hours earlier, just before 6 p.m., police responded to a double shooting at 3rd and Montrose Streets.
We have over 75 spent shell casings.
Those casings show there were 2 guns used in the shooting. 19-year-old Kyer Ladson was murdered. Another 19-year-old
Down. The senders, too, had no problem explaining to an Instagram live audience what they did.
Bro died, you was sitting there watching your man get fried. You fucking goofy.
You better have one of these when I bounce out. You better have one of these. I better have one of these. You better have one of those. And we clicked up, nigga, you always called down the deck. Let us stop down 7th Street. Let us stop down 7th Street. We want to get some. What is you talking about? Fuck that block on every turn. Y'all move down any further, y'all gonna be on Oregon Ave. Y'all gonna be on Oregon cheese steak joint.
In July of 2024, the stress of all these unresolved emotions and stressors that Kyer, or Honcho, had introduced into his life started to catch up to him. His ops speculated he was taking too many pills and that they were possibly laced.
Honcho, and you just said, on the guys, you just said, I don't want to beef with Fisher no more because Fisher is giving 7th Street the fucking belt. Right or wrong? Hey, bro, only reason why I said that, is when y'all came through there, y'all ain't hit no young boy. Oh my God.
Ever since Low died, your morals, bro. That's what I'm saying. You done tripped the fuck out, bro. Stop taking them Zans. I told you.
Hey, bro, Low died. Listen to me. Low died. We bitch your
7th
man.
Street selling fake perks out here. This is the results of the 7th Street perks right here.
Nigga, you know how much money 7th Street got on you?
We giving 7th Street the bell. Hey, yo, how
You know how much money we got on you?
Yo,
you know how much money we got on you?
That nigga busting.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I put my butt. Don't even God put money on y'all. We gonna fucking dust y'all.
He would post on his Instagram stories sometimes 20 to 25 times a day, sometimes repeating the same songs and verses. He would go on live with his ops and go super fed. Then, on August 7th, 2024, it was all over. Kyer Strickland was found in North Philly on Park Ave with a shot to his shoulder. He was rushed to the hospital where he died. This most likely was not the senders, as they haven't claimed it, and Kyer was way out of bounds when he was killed.
Why don't you own an apartment building? And I'm serious right now. Let me show you a path that could change your life, your financial future. My name is Tyler Devereaux, and I'm going to show a sneak peek right now of some of the game-changing strategies with you that I've been able to use in my life and teach thousands of others to do the same thing. And if you're hungry for more and you...
Yo, this shit got me bugging, bro. I'm sitting back just watching this. Y'all saw that? I'm just like, what? This shit got me bugging, bro. I don't even know if I'm gonna make this whole stream, bro. 41 minutes of this shit. And they're about to go through different groups, all with kids. Probably some younger than this fool. Trying to smoke on each other, dissing each other on live, going fed on live. Showing fucking automatic weapons, stolen weapons, bro. This shit too crazy, bro.
Bitch, I'm booted off the shots like where them V's at. Nigga, just a gang up on the line, now look where he at.
We would've had 7 side honcho, he fast when he run. This a glizzy with a switchy, that's automatic. By my brother, it's whatever. Nigga told y'all we gon' back him. Bitch, I'm with my LMGs. We gon' face you 1v1, little nigga, we gon' let it squeeze. Think it's funny, that shit get graphic. Now if you move too smart, he be the last man standing. My LMG steady bending for the guys trying to catch a basket. Said nigga, I'm young and crank, I'm trying to slide, but bro gon' tell me chill, free shit. He did the right thing, but they still gave me wood.
But I don't like to get dressed, we dress niggas up. Trolling about that bus shit, code up to him, we turned them angel dust.
Come through banging on my switch, watch how I break the glass. And they ain't slide for LM40, left him in the pass. Nigga. What's that little bro, you to take it, don't let these niggas take your life. But they got me T, cause these niggas keep dissing. He was speaking on right now, little cat missing.
LMG is a group of kids from West Philly who banded together over the tragic loss of their friend Little Mir, who was killed back in 2021. Tamir Brown was gunned down while sitting in a car with 3 other people. Naquan Smith was also killed while 2 other 19-year-olds were injured. Amin Hurst from 616 or the Fixers collaborated with YBC members to rob and kill members of the Campers and LMG. Amin was charged and convicted in the death of Lil Mir, along with a slew of other crimes related to the war between 616, the Campers, and YBC. Hurst was sentenced in November of 2024 to 55 to 110 years of state incarceration.
Oh my god, bro, that's that fucking kid. He's a rapper too, bro. Yo, stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow, bro. This is crazy. This shit got me twisted, kid. Twisted. I'm only 20 minutes in and I'm bugging. This is crazy. This is a good episode, dude. This is a good episode. Make sure to go like, comment, subscribe to American Confidential. This is your boy JFlood201. This shit too crazy. Oops. Like, I still, like, I can't believe this, bro. super wild, dude. Wow. I really don't. I'm at like a loss for words. Usually I know exactly what to say. And I was chatty at the beginning talking about like the different jobs and how like what to what, bro. I've had so many jobs. I've been in the streets a little bit. Not saying I was a gangster. I did not gangbang. I was not a gangster. I've just had a couple experiences that, you know what I mean? Like, kind of helped me understand some of the context to these videos. Bro, this is insane. These kids really are. They have to be out there living super reckless. Like, I have nothing to look forward to at home. The lack of love that they must find in their lives, the lack of true community that they have, and a lack of options. You know what I mean? And then also like the drill in social media as a negative influence, making them think that this is a viable way out or a viable way for them to express themselves, is such a death trap. Like, Philly really is like turned up. It's like a Chicago. It's like a, and I hate to compare it like that, because like honestly, like this is probably worse. This is probably worse because when you put into perspective how small Philadelphia is as far as a major city on the East Coast. And I'm not saying that it's small. I'm just saying like community-wise, like these guys know each other. Their parents know each other. They're living in like a 1 to 2 block radius. How is 5th Street beefing with 7th Street? There's only 1 block in between. I don't understand. Maybe I don't have the context because I've never been to Philadelphia like that. I've only ever been around it, but that's nuts to me that you can beef with like your neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, I get it when you put it in the context. Like, I kind of get the idea of it, but it still is gnarly. These guys, they need more community, better options. But anyway, this is JFlood201 Reacts. So far, this is a crazy fire video. We're gonna continue this. We're gonna drop a part 2 tomorrow. This is part 1 for you. So far, it's nuts. Definitely go check out the video on your own and stay tuned for this part 2. I'm gonna get back at you and let you know if it's hot or if it's not, because we're always true here at 201.